Mutual and Federal is a proud supporter of the university's boat race, putting our all in for good sportsmanship.
The spectacular mouth of the Kowie River in Port Alfred on the East Cape coast. Endpoint of one of the foremost rowing regattas in the country, the 29th edition of the Mutual and Federal University's boat race.
Mutual and Federal is very keen to sponsor this event. We believe that it reflects our own values in our own business. Teams work very hard. Team spirit is very important, but each individual member has to make a strong contribution. And the values of Mutual and Federal are integrity, and you have to have strong integrity to do this. Respect for each other, which is another one of our values. There's a lot of passion, and you can see it all around us today. We push beyond boundaries because one has to reach and try and better yourself and almost achieve the impossible, and that's what business is about, and this race reflects those. And of course one is accountable for one's actions, which is the other value. So we see a strong alignment between Mutual and Federal, our business values, and what the participants bring to this event. Mutual and Federal have been involved in this race for 9 years. We're very proud to be associated with it. There's a lot of history involved, and we're pleased that we've been able to sign up sponsorship for another 3 years. Whilst in the past we've had teams from overseas, this is the first time that we have a women's team, so we're absolutely delighted to welcome the women's team from the University of Otago in New Zealand. Good luck to each and every one of the teams. We wish you well.
As usual, there was a festive atmosphere at the event, with 8 local universities providing colour and a 5 that surely cannot be matched at any other regatta. AU-C-T. The men started Rabbit Rocks, the first sharp bend to the left will test them, then it's straight through Bell's Reach. Riley's Bog takes the cruise left towards the wreck and the Bay of Biscay, then under the old and new bridges before finishing in front of the River and Ski Club at the Marina. We start the racing with the women's plate 3 crews to fight it out for 6th place. Pretoria University, stroked by Kate Johnston, NMMU from Port Elizabeth, stroked by Claire Halbert, and the University of KwaZulu-Natal from Pietermaritzburg, stroked by Eleni Karidis. And it was the Tuckies crew who took the initiative early on. The NMMU crew worked hard to stay in touch, while Natal Pietermaritzburg had dropped off into last place. The crews working hard as they go around the bend at the wreck. All these crews having had head races on the Thursday to determine the positions in which they'd be racing on finals day. And over the last 500 metres, Tuckies a good push. They went under the bridge, well clear of the other 2 crews, to finish in 14 minutes 45 seconds, just 2 minutes clear of NMMU. 6th place to Pretoria University. The next event was the plate race for 3rd place, with UCT stroked by Kate Minnick and UJ stroked by Ingrid Olsmondal, and Otago University from New Zealand stroked by Shannon Lee Johnston. UCT, with Cox Shannon Croney guiding, started to lose touch over the first couple of Ks. UJ and Otago were involved in the race for 3rd. And it was tight racing. UJ Cox there, Ryan Thompson, just protesting that Otago encroaching on their water. With a bridge in sight, UJ surging through the Bay of Biscay here. UCT on the tail end, Otago dropping off. New Zealand's oldest university, founded in 1869. They've been rowing since 1929. UCT's Tucker, Green, Phelps, Salter, Leach, Bishop and Alex and Kate Minnick working hard but not gaining much water on Otago. But they in turn were well beaten by a good performance from the UJ crew. They finished in 13 minutes 24 seconds to take 3rd place in the university's boat race for women. Back down to the start at Rabbit Rocks for the first of the men's plate finals. 7th and 8th place up for grabs here. NMMU, stroked by Ben Ekron, against the University of KwaZulu-Natal, stroked by Gordon Boot. And the boys from KZN starting on the East Bank. And it wasn't long before NMMU started to impose themselves on KwaZulu-Natal's finest, opening up a 2-boat length gap. In true varsity tradition, Maritzburg crew in matching head and eyewear. But despite that cohesion and tremendous vocal support from the bank, they slipped further and further off the cracking pace set by the NMMU crew. And it was ultimately the NMMU crew who placed 7th, 19 minutes, 29.10 seconds. They were just over a minute clear of the University of KwaZulu-Natal from Pietermaritzburg. Fine performance by the men from Dubai. University of Cape Town, who last won the Cambridge Rudder back in 2001, were in the race for 5th place against their fierce Western Cape rival Stellenbosch University. And it was UCT who opened up a small lead early on. Stellenbosch have never won the Cambridge Rudder. They were stroked by BCom student Clayton Mullins, but it was the UCT 8 of Crowther, De Muik, Van Leerde, Muller, Barsh, Hank, Hyde and Dowes, as well as Cox, Jennifer, George, Nicol. They were on song. The Marties, Mullins, Wallace, Stratham, Barrow, Hutton, Squire, Reach, Miller and Malcolmus and Cox, Carl Davidson were about 3 lengths back going under the first bridge, and UCT, 3-time boat race winners in the past, came home in 23 minutes 42.63 seconds to win by just 20 seconds. A feather in the cap for the University of Cape Town as they put one over Stellenbosch. Shortly before the midday break, and the women's B final brought together the second-string crews from Rhodes University and Wits University over the 4-kilometre course. Rhodes, who can claim the Kowie as home water, were the defending B champions, having won it for the past 2 years. They were stroked by Kelly Stannard. But early on, Wits under Shannon Mulder had taken the advantage. Plenty of support for the Rhodes crew, not far from Grahamstown, of course, Port Alfred. Rhodes taking advantage of the Briley's Bog bend. It's worth about a length to them, but Wits staying in touch. This was going to be a tight race all the way through. Rhodes just ahead, but Wits in touch all the way. Brookstein, the Wits coach, urging his crew along, while Rhodes had the support from the bank. And the crew rewarded that support. Stannard, Bursey, Zeisberger, Stevenson, Fisherhill, Bromley, Steele, Fakale and Arnold powering Rhodes University to a 3rd successive win in the B final at the university's boat race. Back down to Rabbit Rocks in the start of the men's B final between the two Gauteng giants, Wits and UJ. UJ under stroke Kosi Klekani on the right-hand side, and Wits under Gareth Robertson on the left in perfect conditions. Wits stealing a march early on, taking full advantage of those conditions and their East Bank start position. And Dave Brookstein back in the Wits men's B crew doing a fine job again. UJ, there's an appeal from their Cox suggesting that Wits might be stealing some water. Glance over the shoulder from the crew suggesting there might be a little bit of a concern here for UJ. They've got to stay focused. Jess Verheil, the Cox, still with the arm in the air, and you can see from that it's very, very tight indeed. But Wits going extremely well. Support from the bank for the UJ men's B crew. It's a long haul, 6 Ks from Rabbit Rocks, and Wits have got a 2-boat length lead as they headed towards the finish under the last bridge, and Wits coming home in 19 minutes 3.87 seconds to beat UJ by 21 seconds. A good race. Now to the men's plate race for 3rd place. The A crews from Rhodes University and Wits University clashed, and did they clash? Literally and figuratively. Rhodes on the right bank, things got untidy, a clash of blades. Number 2, Mike Marshall in the Wits boat on the receiving end. Rhodes trying to pull through, found their number 2, Andrew Peebles, on his back. The umpire's boat watching very, very carefully. All settled down eventually, and Wits on the left bank just edging ahead. Competitive stuff, and with good reason, of course. Wits, the defending boat race champions. Rhodes, a great pedigree, having won the previous 2 years, and only 2 of the Wits victorious crew from last year back for another run this year. And ironically, the stroke of the Rhodes University boat, Simon Spooner, in that Wits crew a year ago. So plenty of rivalry between these two fine men's crews. Wits just consolidating their advantage through Bell's Reach. Paladin, Roth, Pachonik, Polasek, Rex, Matuchek, Marshall, Watson and Cox Petzer working superbly for Wits University. Rhodes staying calm, and they're in touch. Coming round the Bay of Biscay, Rhodes looking for the tightest line they could possibly manage past the pontoons. Wits looking good. It was going to be tight even through the first of the two bridges. Tremendous support for both crews, but it was Wits University who pulled through to come home and win and take third place in the university boat race. Not what they were looking for after winning a year ago, but a good result. The Kowie River provides an ideal place to nurture and develop young rows from the Nelson Mandela Township, and one man is playing a massive role.
When I moved to South Africa, I happened to live about 100 meters away from the Kowie River. That is the number 2, if not number 1 venue for rowing in South Africa. So in no time I was a coach for Rhodes University. But I live in the location here. The kids were always asking me, and what about us? So that's how it started. 2 years of fundraising to be able to start. There we go. And 2005 started the club. The rowing club is a township rowing club that's using sports, using rowing to empower our youth from the township. Well, this is the first time that we have been participating in this event. We are not a university, so we are happy that we were allowed in. And of course, it's nice to participate in a big event like this in our hometown. For the guys that were preparing for boat race here, that's 7 training sessions per week. And we do extra things like homework support, extra lessons, and all sorts of other activities. If we don't get funding in within the next 2 months, we are dead. It's always desperate. But we hope for the best, and we hope in a couple of years' time to be at our own place with the boathouse and proper facilities and hopefully sustainable way for funding.
Back to the Mutual and Federal Universities boat race, and the excitement was building ahead of the women's A final, the race for the Isis Blade between Wits and Rhodes.
Your choice.
At the toss, Wits choosing the East Bank.
Yes, my team's trained pretty hard for this event. Last year we were unlucky, we finished second in the final, so this year we're wanting to go one better. Everyone's put in the training, and being locals down here, we should have all the support that we need to pull off a good performance and hopefully get back to winning ways at Rhodes University.
The Rhodes boat stroked by 22-year-old Alex van Besso. In the number 7 seat, Alex White. '18-year-old Tay Johnston would be in the number 6 seat. In the number 5, Machine Thornycroft. Shannon Unsworth would take the number 4 seat. Michelle Smith was at number 3. ESC Jones student Tara Wolverine from Zimbabwe was at number 2. Karen Reeves was in the important bow seat. And Christy Lee Kiff would be shouting the odds from the Cox's seat. Great pedigree in the coach's chair, of course, Olympian Donovan Sack. Wits were the defending champions. They had plenty of support.
Because they had a good season so far. A couple of big setbacks during the season, but they've got back onto form. They're going to have to pull out all the stops racing against Rhodes. So we're hoping for a good final, hopefully a close end.
20-year-old BA student Sam DeRick is the Wits stroke, one of 4 Exton Mary's girls in the boat. Karen Wright is at number 7. She's a BCom student. Georgina Westcott sits in the number 6 seat. Law student Meredith Stevens, the 20-year-old, would be in the number 5 seat. Ruth Aldert at number 4. Sarah Landman, a BSc student, would take the number 3 seat. 21-year-old BSc Biokinetics student Laurianne Evans would be in the number 2 seat. And the oldest member of the crew, 24-year-old Claudia Hazelwood, is doing her Masters in Accounting. Annabelle Mulder, the 19-year-old aeronautical engineering student from Parktown Girls High, was the cox. And they were prepared for the boat race by Bruce Morris, the coach. So the scene set for a classic encounter in the final of the women's race. Let's join race commentator Sean Kerr.
So a repeat of the 2008 ladies race between Wits and Rhodes University. Not a great start here for Wits as they come out of the blocks. Rhodes taking an early advantage and being on their home river, knowing the river really well, moving well in the start of the ladies final, already having taken half a length in the first 200 meters. Both coxes trying to find their space on the river. Good rowing here from Rhodes as they move out almost a length now ahead of Wits, and there you see a snapshot of the river ahead of them. Both coxes trying to find the most direct line down to the Bay of Biscay corner. Rhodes moving really, really well in the early stages of this final. Wits ladies just taking a little bit of time to settle into their rhythm, and we see them now starting to move back on Rhodes as the cox finds some good clean water here on the left-hand side of the river. You can see the ripple on the water, just a slight headwind here for the ladies in their final. Some Wits support there on the bank. It's amazing how some of the spectators find their way 4 kilometers up the river to support their crews. Wits working well here through the Centenary Park straight and have now moved right through Rhodes as they've settled into quite a good tapping rhythm. Almost half a length up on Rhodes now as they take advantage of the first corner. So the first corner into the Bay of Biscay will be to the advantage of Wits. They will take the corner to the left, and that should give Wits almost half a length advantage moving around that corner to the left-hand side. You see the Wits cox there, Annabelle Mulder, putting up her hand, just signaling to the umpire that she thinks Rhodes are getting a little bit close to her, starting to infringe on her water. Wits, having moved now well through the Bay of Biscay, have come up to the last final straight and now lead Rhodes by almost a length. Rhodes have not given an inch though through that bay, and also now have the inside of the right-hand corner. Rhodes will have to work really, really hard here if they want to come back at Wits. But it is Wits now moving away in the final straight here in the 2009 University's boat race. So the defending champions coming through here into the final stages of the race to defend their title. Some strong rowing from the Wits University as they come through the finish line. You hear the crowds in the background. A spectacular win here for Wits. One of the closest boat races we've had in a while in the ladies' final. And Wits retained their title in 2009.
A fantastic performance by Wits. Delight for the ladies' 8. A 4th victory in 22 years. Champagne all around. Rhodes had to settle for 2nd place once again. Now to the final of the men's race. Pretoria University against University of Johannesburg. UJ won the toss and they chose the East Bank.
To be honest, we are a very young team and very sort of, in terms of years, some of the guys are, this is a new experience for them, a brand new experience. 2 of the guys fresh out of the B crew, 2 years of rowing, so good up for them. Otherwise, expectations are to go out there and just have a good race and effectively take the race to them and put them under as much pressure as we possibly can.
UJ crew stroked by Lloyd Bellman, a 22-year-old BA student. At number 7, Michael Cillier, BCom student. He's 22. At number 6, Peter Lambert, one of 3 Jeppy old boys in the crew. In the number 5 seat, BCom honours student Jan Daan van Wyk. One of 2 18-year-olds in the crew at number 4, Gary Fortnum from St Benedict's College. At 3, the other 18-year-old, Jeff Knowles. Formerly from King Edward's, doing an LLB, Graham Hood in the number 2 seat. In the bow seat, Alton Marks, a mechanical engineering student. And the cox of the UJ crew, Ryan Thompson. 2000 Sydney Olympian Ross Hawkins was the coach.
They've had a pretty good season so far. They're the reigning South African champions. But boat race over 6 kilometres, whole different ball game. We've got 3 guys in the crew who've never rowed a university's boat race before. We had quite a good performance, I think, for ourselves in the head race. But side by side's a different ball game, you know. Anything can happen.
Playing his cards close to his chest, Matt Britton strokes the very powerful Tucky's crew. 23-year-old sports science student James Thompson is in the number 7 seat. In the number 6 seat, Sean Keeling would bring his experience from the Beijing Olympics to bear. Murray Chandler at number 5. Matthew Britton's younger brother, Lawrence Britton, at number 4, the former Parktown student. Formerly from Pretoria and St Albans College, Morgan Kloss in the number 3 seat. The old man of the crew, Heinz Swart, at 25 in the number 2 seat. Another St Albans boy, Bean Smith, in the bow seat. And coxing the crew, Mark Newby. The Tucky's crew prepared very efficiently for the university's boat race by Grant Dodds. Let's join race commentator Sean Kerr.
Hey boys, let's get ready. This is it.
And it's the start of the 2009 men's university's boat race here between Tucky's and UJ on the East Bank. You would have seen UJ choosing the East Bank earlier in the toss, just giving them that advantage as they move around the first corner. Very experienced crew, this crew from Tucks. 4 members of this boat having represented South Africa at the Under-23 World Championship, and further 3 of them having represented South Africa at the Senior World Championship.
Working to that corner, boys. Working together. Legs and rhythm. Into the heads then. You're holding them now. Good work. Good work, UJ Men's A8. Now sharpen and move.
So some great footage there from the onboard cameras. We see a rather relaxed looking Tucks crew, just a little sharper on the front, just starting to move away from UJ as they approach the first corner. The first corner takes them up to the ladies' start, and already Tucks lead by almost 4 lengths. A great shot here of the first corner as the coxers take it quite fine around the corner, making sure they find the shortest distance down to the finish line. There you see already the Tucks crew, quite a superior crew here. Lots of experience in that Tucks boat.
Get on the neck. Squeeze it away. It's not over yet. It's not over yet. Come up. Who wants it?
So some good motivation there from Ryan Thompson, the UJ Cox. Just motivating his crew, trying to get them going, trying to keep them in contact with the Tucks boat. You can hear Mark in the background just motivating the Tucks crew. Tucks crew looking really sharp as they move through that first bridge. UJ certainly haven't given up the fight, but it is Tucks as they come through the bridge into the final straight. Very sharp, very together, and it is the first win for Tucks in this event. And UJ having to settle for second place. So a courageous row here from UJ crossing the line in second place. And we see the Tucks crew, all the experience in the world, but winning this event is really, really important to any university. There you see the traditional tossing in of the cocks. and the rather untraditional jumping in of the rest of the crew.
Great performance by Tukkies, finishing in 17:39. Some of the times a little slower down through the day because conditions did change with the tide going in and out, but great rowing by all the crews. A dominant performance by Wits University in the women's A's. Great performance by visitors from New Zealand, Otago, finishing in 4th place. So the Wits crew lift the ISIS Glade for the 2nd year in a row, and another highly successful Mutual and Federal Universities boat race comes to a conclusion. We'll see you next year in Port Alfred.
Mutual and Federal, official university's boat race supporter, pulling together in the name of South African rowing.